What's up, everybody? It's John, the Tattooed Historian, and I am here at Gettysburg with my friend Chris Mikowski of Emerging Civil War blog. You might know some of their books. You've seen some of their videos online. They have a great YouTube channel. Chris, thanks for joining me up here in Ziegler's Grove.
Delighted to be here. I've been having a great time, and what a bonus to be able to run into you today.
Yeah, this has been great, man. It's been great to be here. It's a beautiful day in Gettysburg. It's July 2nd. It's the anniversary of the second day of the battle. And it's so good to run into you. You've been really busy lately. You've been doing a lot. Tell us about Emerging Civil War blog.
Basically, Emerging Civil War is a collection of 30 historians. We're mostly public historians. A few of us do have experience in academia, but we're out spreading the gospel of the Civil War. That's what I like to describe it, because we're really trying to be excited about connecting people with what we see as America's defining event. The Revolution founded us, but we didn't really sort of figure out what we were as America until the Civil War started to address and started to answer some of those questions. And I would say we're still trying to answer some of those questions today. But we're super excited about it. And so we want to connect people with good storytelling, with good hooks, with stuff they're going to find interesting, thought-provoking, some new perspectives, new ideas, emerging voices in the field, all in a way to just help you stay connected with that story.
That's awesome, because a lot of you follow along on what I'm doing. You get that general overview of a piece of history, and you want to learn more about it. I give you just the hors d'oeuvre, basically, the appetizer involved with this. Chris in Emerging Civil War can give you the basically the first part of the main course, because you guys do a lot of stuff for the general public, and it's a great introduction as well to what we're trying to get across to a lot of people. And that's why I like what you all do, because you allow people to be like, I've never even heard of this topic. Let me get a good start on it. Was that the focus of Emerging?
Absolutely, and because many of us started out as tour guides on battlefields or have worked in museums, we've all been on the front lines, and so we've been talking to people about the history and answering their questions and helping them fan the fires of their own interest. And so for us, that's been really important. Like, help people connect to history in ways that are important to them. You know, what are their questions? And I'm an academic myself. I work at a university, but I am not one of those historians who's writing for other historians, because honestly, I think there's a little bit of navel gazing to that useful for the field, not useful for Joe Q. Public, who comes to the battlefield and is asking about the train or asking about a monument or my grandfather's regiment was here. That relevance is really key.
Right. That's why I appreciate it so much, because that's kind of like what I'm trying to do, because I'm a kind of like a tourist first.
Right.
You know, and then a historian, and that's how I learn. And do you find out with a lot of people who read Emerging Civil War, as far as either the blogs or the books, that they are wanting to just whet their taste with that new stuff?
That's how we started. Although I'm surprised at how many hardcore Civil War buffs subscribe to the blog and read us and read the books. Our book series really was designed to we call them gateway drugs. Just to kind of hook you, and then get you kind of really committed, and then you get into something deeper, more in depth, and more detailed. So we were really going for that. Something you could read easily in a couple hours, lots of pictures, cool maps, intro level reading. But a lot of buffs tend to pick up the books too. But as you know, when you think tourist first, and this was my experience being a battlefield guy, is that people come and they think like, oh wow, this is cool. I wish I could pick up something to read, just get a better idea of what happened here. And they don't want that thick $35 book.
Right.
They want something they can read in a couple hours.
Right.
So that's kind of the focus of the book series, is to address that niche.
And that's why I like the book series, because it's part basically that 350-page book, but also part tour book, which is what I appreciate, because I need to know where I have to go to be in that spot to realize what that looked like at the time.
Yeah, and the idea with the tour sections of the books is so that you can take the books out onto the field with you, and it can explain, like, here's a little history of that monument, here's a little history about the view you're looking at, here's a history about the battle. So it kind of explains the cultural resources there. But if you're sitting at home in your recliner back in Columbus, Ohio, you're not on the field, you can still read those sections and get a sense like, well, if I was there, here's what I would see, which I think helps keep those people plugged into the books too.
and you were a tour guide, and now you're in academia. Is touring around still your favorite thing to do? Is it still bring back that fire within you to want to learn more? You know, taking people out, because you led a tour for Mosby Heritage area, and I loved it because it was really in depth but also engaging.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
He gave one of the best tours I've ever been on, and I'm not saying that because he's on this video. I mean that. I wish I could be a half the tour guide he is.
Well, thank you.
But is that something that still is like, it lights your fire to go out and just be there, be in the moment, tell the story? Or do you like to do the writing better? Or?
Well, I'm privileged in that all of it is fun, for me at least. And so each one has its own special hook, its own special delight. I can't think of a better word for it. Its own special delight. So being out on the field, I always learn something new every time I'm out on the field. Doesn't matter how many times I've been there, there's something new. And maybe it's something new I've noticed. Maybe it's from a conversation I'm having with someone out on the field. So to me, that's so invigorating. The written stuff, I love to tell a good story. I'm a writer, you know. As John Lee Hooker said about his guitar playing, it's in me and it gots to get out. And that's how I feel about my writing. And so to be able to write a story that essentially has been told already, to write it in a way that is new, that is compelling, that is fresh, I love that challenge.
And that is quite a thing for you to have, because it's hard for me to sit down and write for long periods of time, because my brain wants to go out and seek more, and I'd be the type of guy who would write 3 books at one time, because I have to have different things. I'm very envious that you have that ability to sit down and do that.
Well, and part of it is because I can only write for so long in any given stretch of the day. So, like, I need to get up and go out and poke around the battlefield, or I need to go read something new, or and that kind of breaks things up. So it allows me to multitask and do a bunch of different sorts of stuff at once.
So if anyone out there wants to find out about Emerging Civil War, where do they go online to do that?
www.emergingcivilwar.com. And as I said, free content every day. We've got 30 different historians. And what I really like about it is that different writers with different writing styles, different interests, different backgrounds. So there's always something new and different that's up there. So if you don't like something today, well, there's going to be 2 more things tomorrow, and chances are there's going to be something that you're going to like.
Now you see the parallel between our two projects, our 2 businesses. Friction-free history, and people of all different backgrounds becoming involved and becoming a part of the historical narrative in their own way. I think that's very important, and I think that's the future of the field. And I think Chris would agree, although I don't want to put words in his mouth.
No, absolutely. and that's one of the things that I find so exciting about what you're doing, is that it's all about helping people find their way through their own interests, you know, and get excited in a way that means something to you. You know, I've said this in several different places to several different people. What you're doing is exciting, and the field needs that.
Thank you. There's a history for everything.
Yeah.
And no matter what you're interested in, there's a history of it. And that's something we need to remember.
Oh, absolutely.
As we go day to day. But thank you so much for being on the video. And I'm sorry for anyone out there who heard the wind blow. But we are right in front of where Pickett's Charge happened, and it's rolling towards us.
It's my hot air. That's what it is.
No, it's not that. It's not that. Thank you, Chris, for being on.
My privilege.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.